Hey everybody, Sam Kavaris in the Nimnicht Chevrolet Video Sports Update. So they've named Blaine Gabbert as a starter, but he's injured at least for the rest of the preseason. How does that play out? What does that mean for the Jaguars? Obviously, Chad Henne will get a bunch of the snaps, and I don't think it matters what Henne does in this game or if he plays against Atlanta. Gabbert's going to be the starter. That is, if his thumb is healed. And you might have seen where the newspaper ended up talking to a thumb specialist, a doctor, who said, look, that hairline fracture showed up on an MRI, might be at risk if he does play against Kansas City and takes this kind of blunt force against it. So no doubt the Jaguars will try to be pretty careful with that. You've got to give Gabbert a long leash at this point. The interesting stat that I read over the weekend is that even though he's in his third year in the league, he also will now still be the second youngest quarterback in the league. The only one younger, and only by 5 months, is Robert Griffin III. So, as the Jaguars said all along, if Gabbert was coming out this year, which would have been his normal class, that he would have been the consensus #1 pick. And everybody, nobody really wants to say it, but when you look back to that first year when Jack Del Rio really did Blaine a disservice and put him in the game without any preparation, he had no summer, he had no off season because of the lockout and the strike. He really didn't have any experience to play in the National Football League, and they took Luke out of the game, and that was that. John Gruden in that late season game that was on ESPN basically called Gabbert a wimp and said, he was just kind of a wuss in the pocket and wasn't really manly enough. And that stuck because Gruden said it, and Gruden's like the quarterback guru. So fans have thought that since then and always look for that. So the question is, did Gabbert get kind of gun-shy in the pocket because he was under such heat in year one because he didn't really know what he was doing, and year two because the offensive line was makeshift? Or is that just the way he is? The first thing is fixable. The second thing is not. But you've got to basically give him all the way until January 1st to figure out whether he's your long-term starter. He certainly played magnificently in the 12, 15 plays that he played last week, but those are 12 or 15 plays. I can tell you, I've said this here many times, he does that in practice all the time. That's what he looks like in practice. That's why I call him a seductive player in practice, because he's always been able to do that, but that's the first time we've seen him on the field, in uniform, with guys with bad intentions chasing after him in other uniforms, produce at that level. Not for a whole game, not even for a whole half, but certainly showed that he is capable of that. If that's the Blaine Gabbert that the Jaguars have long term, then they got a chance to win. If not, by the end of this year, they're going to have to start looking around. But those decisions can't be made for quite a long time. Cecil Short's back at practice. Russell Allen back at practice. We'll find out later in the week whether they're going to play this Saturday against Philadelphia. Michael Vick named the starter, so that'd be an interesting reason to go to the game. Then again, there is a 60% chance of rain. So I think anybody who's got the slightest little muscle injury, Luke Jokel, Mercedes Lewis, probably won't play this Saturday at the stadium. I'm Sam Kavaris. That's the Nimnicht Chevrolet Video Sports Update.